remote teaching enterprises. Okay, hello there, teachers. This is just going to be a really short video from what I usually do. And in this video, I just want to give you some ideas about being creative. And this is especially with special education students. Not really so much with regular education students, but what works for special education students will work with regular education. So why not? One thing is to be creative and don't be boring. So I'm about to show you guys some fun stuff that I add to my lessons. I'm going to go into my photos and just show you what I put onto my lessons that's just for entertainment. So something like this. Like I play video games and I clip up and edit for one of my YouTube channels. So I'm not saying you have to go play games, but just think of something that you do. It doesn't have to be video games, but something that you do that's really exciting to your kids, that they would really get a kick out of, or something that would just make them really want to watch your lessons and kind of just get their attention. So before my videos, sometimes I play a few of these highlights and then I actually start the lesson. So that's just one idea. And then I have these characters that I created. And with the characters that I created, it's going to be really funny because I'm learning how to animate. So when I finish the ideal that I had with these characters, I think my students are really going to get a kick out of it. But the purpose behind them is so that my students can know their shapes. So I have circle here. I have pentagon. And then I have hexagon, pentagon, circle, and triangle. And so this is really all just to kind of help my students. But you see how I kind of just created like these silly looking characters so that when we start talking about shapes, I'll bring out the characters and it'll just be a memorable experience for them. And then another thing I did was I had created this little animation right here. It's just silly. That's all it is. It's just being silly and something that I think my students will get a kick out of, seeing something silly like this. And I can like put that like in the middle of a lesson. I can put it at the end, or I can put it in the beginning of a lesson. But it ultimately helps because it's something that's kid friendly, and adults may not really understand it, but the kids will actually get the most out of it. So it's no problem. It doesn't take up a lot of time in your videos, and I'll go through a little bit more and then I'll end this video. What did I do? I had made a lot of things. Let's see. This right here was one of the characters that I had created called Green Bean. So like I started the lesson. I'm just going to show you guys a little bit of the lesson. So like I'm talking about plants and things like that. And that's basically my nature channel. So like I'm going to show my students like a series of videos of me in the garden. So as you can see, I had that little character in the garden. And that's what I was creating. Here's something else in Procreate. Let me get out of here and go into Procreate so you guys can see. Okay, where is it? I had a fun little animation. Okay, here's something cool right here. Okay, and that was really quick. That was just a really quick little animation that I did. Oh, and here's the one in the garden. This one right here. And it took me forever to create this, even though it's really silly. My students will get a kick out of something like this. Like when I start talking about getting in the garden and planting seeds and how seeds grow and things like this. I'm just putting some of that into the lesson just to make it fun. And you don't have to take it like forever. You don't have to take up all your time. Just do something that you think your students will get a kick out of. And all students are different. So whatever you think for your students, just do that. But make it interesting. All right, so, sorry about that. I had got a phone call. I've been getting a lot of phone calls in the middle of my lessons and what I'm trying to talk about. So I gotta make sure you cut your phone off or anything that'll ring while you're doing lessons if you don't really want that distraction. So anyways, I was just going over some of the things that I did for special education students. So here's a little example of what I did with IXL.
Watson, and this is my player. And math is fun. Let's learn.
Three. Complete the doubles fact.
3 plus 3 equals 6. I have my doubles facts memorized, so I don't have to count these dots, but they're good to look at because it gives you a visual model.
These dots show 2 plus 2.
Okay, try to do this one without counting the dots.
Complete the doubles fact.
Okay, what do you have? 4. Good job. If you would like, you can get a whiteboard and a marker or a pencil and a piece of paper and write these down. But please feel free to pause this video at any time so that you can learn at your own pace. Okay, let's get this.
These dots show 8 plus 8. Complete the doubles fact.
Okay, I'm going to show you a... Okay, so you see how, first of all, I started with something really interesting. There's music playing in the background, and then I have the audio, and I have myself in a picture right here, and then I'm also walking the student through each step. These are the kind of things that special education students need. They need visual models, and they need explicit instruction as far as metacognition and things like that. And so this is something that caters more towards their needs, especially that I was also slowing the lesson down. So that's just a little example of kind of what I'm talking about when I say specifically for special education, because regular education students may not need all that processing time, and they may not need as much audio and visuals to understand the topic.